Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Worship Guitar Show. Great to see everybody this evening. We're live and in color, and certainly a pleasure to be here with you all. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Worship Guitar Show. No. Great to see everybody this evening. So the hilarious thing is, like, you think you're going to put in headphones, and that's going to make all the little stuff go away. But no. In any case, it is great to see everybody here, and I hope you're having an amazing day. It's kind of funny sometimes. It's kind of like I'm church tech, and that I'm responsible for the mix, and I'm responsible for the cameras, and I'm responsible for the live stream. And sometimes, like, everything's prepped, everything's good to go, and then some crazy thing goes on. In this particular case, there was this looping audio that I had to basically restart a number of applications simultaneously. So I apologize for the delay, but I promise you I will do my very best to make it worth your while. So let's jump right into it. After I, first of all, give everybody my salutations and say I hope you are having an amazing day, had an amazing week, and are ready to have... Why is Facebook looking like it's frozen? Oh, I see. Hang on a second. There we go. Get live. No. Just because I unmuted you, I already turned the volume down, or I hit play. It's just crazy how it works sometimes. All right. In any case, it's problem solved. All right, Forrest, great to see you. Brett, great to see you. Hello. So we are talking about rhythm guitar today, and I want to give a little bit of background and insight because my references may not be totally worship, but at the same time, we can only teach out of the things that we know and live in. So with that said, before I started playing at church, I had put out an instrumental guitar record. I studied with this guy named Joe Satriani, who you've probably heard of, and I spent an awful lot of years teaching guitar, studying guitar, teaching guitar, and continuing to study guitar. And then kind of in the midst of all of that, there was a guy named Richie Corsello who kind of took me underneath his wing in the recording studio. I'm going to reach out of frame here while I grab my polish cloth. My apologies. Who took me under his wing in the 24-track studio, and I spent some time at Fantasy Studios in Berkeley, and Fantasy is sadly now gone. And we spent some time in a couple of other studios around the Bay Area, one of which was actually a place called Gush, which used to belong to Neil Sean of That's Right Journey. So, I spent a lot of time falling in love with the process of recording, and the process of recording is ultimately about great rhythm guitar, or else you're going to have some really not great sounding guitar-centric music. So with that said, much of what I've spent my time and energy doing is around heavier styles of guitar, but it all, everything you learn kind of comes with you. A buddy of mine, Ian Fisher, talked about the fact that you kind of show up, you're almost like a doctor, and you got this little bag, and you open it, and it's your stethoscope, and you can listen to the patient and hear the heartbeat, and then you got the little thing that goes under your, you have these same tools that, although it's a different patient, many of the tools are the same. So I'm going to share this from the framework of a rock guitar player, and I'm going to share it from the framework of a slightly rock and roll tone, because that's kind of where I've been living. So let me give you a little bit of background into the whole perspective of where I'm coming from and why. There's a buddy of mine named Fuller, who some of you might know from worship tutorials, that I have the privilege of doing some, I guess the word would be co-writes for television stuff. I don't believe yet anything that I've written has been placed. But there's kind of a new batch of material that I'm going to be working on with Fuller. And so I'm kind of crafting these little kind of 2-minute sections. And in so doing, I've had a chance to kind of come back into my studio and really live as a rhythm guitar player. In case you didn't know, I was one of the session guys, again, on Guitar Hero, which if I didn't mention that a moment ago, I should have, and I think I did. But the point being is that the main reason they hired me for those sessions was because of the lead work. But had I been non-functional on the rhythm work, I wouldn't have kept that gig. So with that in mind, the rhythm guitar playing part of this is extremely important. So it's been interesting, kind of, having been away from being the recording rhythm guitar player, because, a lot of the is about kind of getting a feel, a vibe, sitting in a particular place in the time, playing in tune, having actual parts that are actual parts that you actually know what that part is. Not only do you know what that part is, you play it repetitively with feel, in time, and with the vibe, so you're getting a consistent result. And this is a very intentional type of guitar work, because the idea is you get in, you play it with as much heart, feeling, and soul as you possibly can, and you get out and you move on to the next idea. And so the neat thing about working with Fuller is he's extremely enthusiastic, but he loves guitar. And so he kind of gives me the freedom to just kind of do my thing, which means that, within the framework, we have kind of gone through this list of stuff that we're going to be doing. And so I'm kind of crafting different types of riffs, which is the equivalent of, we're playing on a Sunday. We don't have Jesus Culture as our backing band. We may have some of their backing tracks, but without their rhythm section, that is to say their drummer and their bass player, our guitar contextually doesn't always make sense if we play exactly what's on the record. And again, the story I think I told last week was I was doing a for hire church thing that I actually did for free, because it wasn't a for hire thing, but a lot of the other musicians there get paid. The point being is I came in and all of a sudden the sound guy pulls up this guitar, thing on the multi-tracks that made absolutely no sense in the midst of what we were doing, and made absolutely no sense contextually in relationship to what I was doing. And I was not going to change what I was doing for the sound tech on Sunday morning, because I believe in, being flexible going into on Sunday. But the point I'm out there on the platform, I've spent all this time, and it's Sunday morning, and all of a sudden this track's up. I'm like, and it sounded terrible. Made absolutely no sense in the framework of the band. So the point being is, with that POV, we want to be making sense in the framework of where we are. And again, with that analogy of the toolkit, doesn't matter what style we're playing, there are a lot of things that we want to be consistent of. So first and foremost, there are a couple of nuances, and I've got a couple of tuners around here. The battery on this one is getting ready to go out, and I had a slightly better version. Where's the black one? No, the black one's hiding. All right. I think this is the one that the battery's on its way out. So I'm going to swap tuners here, but I'm going to do a little something that is a really good example of what I would like to talk about. And I have mentioned this a couple of times, but I'm going to say this. So right now, I'm doing this thing called tuning. And generally, it's better to do it with the volume off if you've got a headstock tuner like this. But right now, my guitar says it's in tune. And again, when you initially hit the string, don't hit it too hard, but it will drop a little bit once the note starts to sag. Where is that bleed coming through? One of my computers is bleeding somewhere. Don't do that. Oh, I bet I know where you are. Yeah, it's right there. Okay, sorry about that if you were hearing that. I wasn't. Okay, so here's the deal is that actually this guitar, there you go. You can see it just a little bit. All right, let's see if I can get it. There we go. If you take a look, see that little red light there when I'm on. That C just a little tiny bit sharp. It's actually much better on this guitar than I would have imagined. It's actually pretty darn good. Your average guitar, that C is sharp. So that what's good about that... And let me just double check my tuning, because the deal is I want to go through and do everything. And here, okay, let's talk about tuning here for a quick second, because honestly, it deserves a lot of attention, especially since it's a little warm here. It's a little tiny bit humid. And that means that generally your guitar is going to want to do a couple things. One of the first things I would suggest doing is when you change strings, give the string kind of between your thumb and your index finger a series, and then kind of flip it around kind of like that. 3 to 6 back and forth, and then putting the left hand over the 12th fret, giving the string, and this is what you want to do when you first pick up the guitar, especially on a cold morning. Warm the strings up with your hand, such that they kind of reach hand temperature, and then give each string a gentle tug. What that's going to do is release the string, any bit of the string that's there at the nut, and then depending on the instrument, you either want to tune with the open string, or you want to tune with the 12th fret. And sometimes I don't necessarily have a set rule as to which I do. I used to be a 12th fret guy, only using the 12th fret harmonic. But some guitars, just for whatever reason, they just seem to tune a little bit better using the open string. And and this is one, usually I have a very specific reason for doing stuff. This one, I don't have a reason for doing it. But I will say this, is that I would always suggest going through at least twice, because what happens is when you change the pitch on one string, it will affect the tension on the neck a little bit, especially if you got some sort of tremolo system. All right, now, the thing about... So I purposely chose, that's an area on the neck when you're going between the first fret. The thing about the first fret, why it likes to play sharp, is because the nut is right there. And as you kind of look at the other frets, if this was a fret, first fret, second fret, so on and so forth, you kind of get this London Bridge effect that when you go to play the note that's at the first fret, you're kind of pushing the string down, and it increases the length a little bit. Boy, that G string just does not want to stay in tune tonight. All right, so the point being, playing... I'm purposely playing an area that, if I'm not careful... And it's already... a little tiny bit at the edge of out of tunedness. One of the things is distortion has a tendency to make things either... Boy, you're just not going to make life easy for me tonight, are you? Distortion has a tendency to sometimes make things that are in tune sound out of tune because of the way that the notes bead against one another. But... all right, here we go. All right, all right. Let me explain what I did there. These two were in tune. I literally... if I did this on vibrato... I'm literally taking that string and pushing it into the neck a little bit. I'm gonna... here it is without it. with, without. There are all the. All right, yes, I'm on the verge of a string change. Why are you just going sharp? Well, I will tell you one of the reasons the string will go sharp is this. Now, that's not me abusing the guitar. What happens is the string's bouncing around, and sometimes that causes it to travel up over across the top of the neck and get stuck, which is exactly what's happened here. But you saw me give everything a nice, good stretch before. My G string's completely freaking out. I am kind of losing my mind here. Sorry. All right, I tried a little reverse psychology. I tuned it a little flat, and it pulled itself into tune. There's no reason that the guitar should be doing what it's been doing. I've been playing it in tune for days. All right, it's seeming like it wants to behave from it. So the idea is right down at the bottom of the neck. You want to be really conscious of that C there at that first fret. On a lot of guitars, because of the way the nut is cut and the height of the nut, that C will play sharp, and you got to be really conscious when you're going to grab a chord like a C chord. Now, in terms of this intonation thing, one of the mistakes a lot of players make, in particular on a C chord, is they'll form that chord and they'll push of all fingers into the neck the most, the first finger. Now, why would you do that? Because you have a tendency when you're first learning the guitar to kind of put the fingers down in that order. And even though intermediate to advanced players put both, all three fingers down at the same time, they still have a tendency to press a little bit harder with the first finger. So you're accentuating a note that already may be sharp by pressing it even more sharp. My suggestion would be to, I tell you what, if you get a moment, thanks, Brett, appreciate it. Hello to Manila. Hang on, let me just take a moment and say hello to everybody, especially since you've endured this. Darren, hey, what's going on? Let me say hi to everybody who has endured this little tuning episode. Here's the thing is like generally, I'm pretty scientific about what I do, but every so often there's just stuff that just happens. All right, Brett, great to see you. I am feeling better. Thank you for asking. Forrest, welcome back. Sarkhan, Veronia Pay. Hi, and welcome. Great to see you. Brett, with great pleasure, and awesome. And you're most certainly welcome. Let me read Brett's very kind comment. Thanks for doing these weekly workshops. I've learned more about the music industry and music in general over the past year than any other time in my life. I appreciate it. Well, I will celebrate that. How about that? Awesome. Thank you. I received that, and with great pleasure. Thank you. I don't have to look over to the right to read the comments that are coming in from the tube of you. Okay, first of all, Chris, great to see you. Alan, hello. Gregory, what's going on? Lefty in the house. There we go. Darren, what's happening? Tuning things that pianists can't control themselves and keyboarders don't worry about unless you got a mini Moog. But that's me going old school on you. All right. So here's the thing. Now that this thing seems to be relatively stable, the reality is a lot of what we do in worship are these little dyads, right? So let me do all the stuff I could do wrong as an exemplification of what not to do. And the goal of tonight is to have you kind of go, what am I doing? What am I not doing? How can I make it better? Because rhythm guitar, per a conversation I had with Fuller, who I mentioned earlier, is one of the things that I am most passionate about. I actually said to Fuller, I enjoy playing rhythm guitar more than I play lead guitar, but let me let you in on the secret. Let's see. I'm soloing the entire time, but nobody else knows that. It's solos in rhythm guitar players' clothing, and you know. So the tendency and the potential to play out of tune happens at a couple of different levels. These dyads. Chris, you're talking about Tom Quayle. Sorry, Chris Alexander. I saw a video a few months ago about the benefits of tuning the B string to C. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was great. That's Tom Quayle. So let me show you how we can take a lovely, stupidly simple little line like that. I'm a little tiny bit out of tune, but for the sake of time right now, for the sake of time, I'm gonna give it a little 1-2 here. All right. All right, so first of all, what you want to look for is the road hazards. That is to say, so power chords, we're used to playing them, but you can watch the third finger as opposed to coming straight down on the note. Pulling that third string, you can actually see when the strings are no longer parallel, which is a little bit hard to see when you're looking. Actually, it's not. If, for example, you're playing, by the way, if you've got a guitar handy or have one close by, which you probably do me a favor, go grab it, please. What I'm just doing here is I'm playing this silly little B power chord. Let's call it B5, B4, B major, because that's the 1 and the 3. So basically that's B and F sharp, B and E, B and D sharp. So the trick about rhythm guitar is when you're really actually recording it for real, or when you really listen to your track soloed, what does it really sound like? That right there. Getting to that guy and not going. And if you got a chance, grab a tuner as well. So the idea is, this one right here is really hard to grab and not want to make contact with the string with the first finger and push it a little tiny bit sharp. And the good news is that if you look at the strings from here to here, you'll be able to see when they are not and when they are parallel. It's easier to see from this angle. But if you play this power chord and start to pull that third finger sharp, you can see when, even up here at the 12th fret, when it's no longer equidistant between the 4th and 3rd strings, boom, and the 3rd and 2nd strings. Now, getting that little interval change there when you're recording is actually really stinking hard, because you've got to get from this one nice and easy to lay that first finger. Here's the deal. So I would suggest trying something like that. Now, here's the other thing about recording guitar. That little open A string, you keep rehearsing it until you don't hit it anymore. So now I'm going to be, and this is just teaching rhythm guitar, whether you're recording or not, know what mistakes you play. The great thing about recording is you're going, I'm going to hit stop, I'm going to play it back, and I'm going to hear that mistake again. So you're like, all right, let's fix this, right? See, other thing is knowing actually what it is you're playing. And that little, there's a little. That little. So now we got the exact rhythm. So the idea is that little business can be distracting in a track. So the idea is you try and figure out where all the noises are coming from and choosing which ones you want to get rid of and which ones you're okay with. There's another thing is I've got this little position shift where sometimes the other fingers. So one of the things you can do here just to work that little transition. So 2 times. Like I said, 2 times. Oh, interesting. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. The little subdivision method. So the idea is. Or not. All right, so the idea is we're going. So if we're just going 8, that's 16. Let's do a single note. So we're going. We're going to slow it down. I'm doing a terrible job of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So much for teaching rhythm guitar. The idea is we're taking the idea there we go. So we play it at the whatever the slower tempo, one cycle through, we're going to call it. Then you play it twice as fast, twice as many times. The idea is it gets you used to kind of switching gears, and by the time you have, this is a real tempo. Hear the open A string in there? That's what we don't want. So one of the tricks is that I'm going to move the tip of my first finger so it's touching up against the side of the fifth string. That is a, do me a favor, play the fourth string if you got your guitar, fourth string at the fifth fret. And literally feel the tip of your first finger snug up against the side of the fifth string. And if you hit it, you could be touching against the side of that fifth string and get a harmonic. That's okay so long as you don't hit it. But that way if you hit, you hear that instead of, well, why is that important? Because if we're a fret higher, now we... All right, we might want to be playing in the major 7th. But in this case, we're not looking for that. So the deal is now I've got that tip of that first finger touched up against the side of the fifth string. So that mistake of that open A string that happened there, I'm now ready for it, anticipating it, and in theory, preventing it. Sorry, no, I'm playing, not playing that. All right, you got the idea. So this is true of any chord change that you got that maybe that you're doing repetitively. And if I'm not cautious, watch this third finger. Right hand now. Listen to this. If I'm not conscious, Paul Muniz. Hey, what's it going on? Hi, Chris. Hello, great to see you. Headstock Harem, hello. With the Ibanez there, I think that's an Ibanez, or is that a Jackson? It's pointy. That's all I care. All right, awesome. So the deal is, if I'm not conscious of this third finger, the tendency when you're playing the equivalent of a power chord like this, that third finger comes down at an angle. And so it'll sound like, or something like that. Now, here's the other thing. The first time I played that, you saw me kind of look down and go, wait a second. And it's because a couple of things about slides is the tendency. Now, if I play, that's me doing a vibrato by pushing the string into the neck. The tendency that I have, and it's one, I had a terrible time with octaves because my first finger wanted to dig in. When I was playing octaves, and it's really, oh, there we go. Phil would like to get a Phil Collins signature. Awesome. Jackson, awesome. So, sliding that entire power chord. There's another thing that happened there that I did that on purpose. The cello vibrato. You watch a cellist play, they do this. So do violin players, but that's taking the string literally going. And so on a slide, it's easier to slide up and push the string that way. And in so doing, it gets shorter. It gets longer because you've basically taken the string going. And so even though, you're further up the neck, but basically what you've done is you've taken the point where the fretting happened, or your finger was making contact with the string, you said, hey, let's push it this way, which means the distance gets shorter, but the length of the string remains the same, which means the string goes flat. And the other thing is this. It's very easy in the formation of a chord when there's lots of other noise going on to not hear that what I was doing there. And you hear it go like, when you're tuning, when it's not in tune. And it's really easy to just go. And I am a little bit out of tune right now, so I'm going to double check my tuning again. But the point being is that the idea of really just going, hey, how in tune am I actually playing? And then you kind of find that, if you're anything like I am, I'm in tune a lot less than I would like to be. And until you're actually kind of going, okay, what's causing it? And again, it's these notes that we have a tendency to hang on, or these notes we have a tendency to push flat or conversely pull sharp. And again, these guys right here, and then these guys, that pinky, because of the fact that for me, that third finger pad is a little bit wide for the fret on a Gibson scale instrument, and the string spacing. So what ends up happening is that third finger has a tendency to want to have my fourth finger pull that string a little bit sharp, just to feel like I'm not going to kind of create some mistake. And in the process, I play the note chart. So what you got to do is you just kind of have to, if you have a thing where your pad, if you take a look, you can see the kind of the bulbous nature of the callus on my third finger there. So I kind of have to have these guys make friends before I hit the chord. Otherwise, if I come down the length of my third finger, it's going to have me have to play that note sharp, as opposed to kind of have them already making friends like this. And that should be a minor third. All right, and so it's just one of those things, depending on how attuned your hearing is, it gives you that feeling in the pit of your stomach where you're like, it's just a little bit out of tune. So sometimes just isolating. One of the other things I started to do is I started to press this note. One of the things that starts to happen sometimes with distortion, that's actually in tune, but the interval. But the thing about it is then you got to be really anal about that. All right, now I realize you're not going to play that at church, but the whole exercise there was to kind of watch the, like, all right, let's pull the part apart. Where are these little things that are happening? And literally, when I'm in the studio, I'm literally like, I'm paying attention to everything. Is there a chord that's got a note that's out of tune? Because the thing is, at the point that I hand it off, it has to be basically perfectly in tune. Both for myself and for the fact that somebody's going to potentially be playing bass over the top of this, going to be adding keys or whatever it is. And if I haven't got my intonation right, everything else sounds bad down a head. So here, C major 13. Sorry, B flat major 13, sharp 11. That is to say, this little guy here, it's like a power chord with the second and fourth fingers. That right there would be the 6. And then this guy right here is the 3 in the second octave. That's the sharp 4 and the major 7. So the best way I could describe this would be kind of like a major bar chord that where the first finger was got replaced with the second finger, and where the second finger was gets replaced with the third finger, and kind of this pinky goes over and plays a power chord there. That is to say, we're going 2, 4, 1, 3, 1, 1. B flat major 13, sharp 11 voice 1, 5, 6, 3, sharp 4 / sharp 11, 7. And it is a Lydian mode chord. We're not talking about lead tonight. Don't tempt me. Now I did a little variation there. And it's one of the things that happens every so often. It's not like the brain misfires. The brain goes, what about this? And it's important to listen to those and go, better, worse, or different. Better means maybe I replace one, or, if it's a cycle of 4 times, like, I don't think it sounds better, and it's a little distracting. I'm going to go low-high. That was the first time it was low, second time was high. Now I'm going to go low-high in the middle of the riff. No, I'm not. Here we go. Now I'm going to flip it around. The idea is that, you know, quite often we may not necessarily be, hello, Maury Morales. Welcome. Great to see you. I like your photo too, dude. All right. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me double check here on Facebook and make sure. Gary, great to see you. Tammy, what's going on? My emojis are turned off. I love it. Steve, what's going on? Yes, someone else is using a Boss GT1000 core. I love it. Not a worship tone in this moment, but I love this little box. And for those who don't know, it's an entire GT1000 core, less the switches, stuffed into that cute little box. Who could go wrong with that? What's going on, Gio Card? Great to see you again, my friend. Okay, good. Gary, running late again, work stuff. Great to see you. All right, Tammy, what's happening? Okay. Now, why so serious? What's happening, my man? Great to see you. At least I'm presuming you're a dude and not a dudette. Peter David, absolutely a worship dog. We're not playing some Phrygian, though. All right, hey, what's going on, everybody? Okay, so the Go Sweet riff on tone on last one. Awesome. Thanks so much, Headstock. So here's the deal. We're kind of going, look, rhythm guitar is this thing. It doesn't matter what the style is. These same things are pervasive. You know, especially kind of, you know, at the beginning here, the guitar being a little bit more in tune. That is one of the, as silly as it goes, hey, I'm playing an open string and fretting a note. I'm going to purposely play it a little out of tune. Now, when I get to this note, I'm going to press a little bit into the neck. Now I'm going to try and push when I get up to the E note. Boy, the whole guitar didn't like that at all. All right. So here's the deal. It's just a little humid here tonight, which is interesting. There we go. So there, I'm just going to say it. This right here is in tune. You can hear it beating. So what I'm going to do here, I'm purposely bending that second string a little sharp, so that wah, wah, wah is out of tunedness. Now, is me bending that much. I'm going to not bend that one. 4. So there are times you're just going to have to do wacky little stuff like that to make one fret that maybe got dinged. Maybe that D chord's been played a bunch of times, and that's why that note is a little bit, tiny bit flat, right? You with me? D chord played a bunch of times, little pit there, and that note just doesn't want to play in tune. This is the stuff that we deal with. And, you know, the other thing is for those of us, I'm going to say the T word, your average Telecaster, unlike this guy that has 6 adjustable tattles, adjust the intonation on pairs of strings. For those of us that are intonation freaks and fanatics, it can be an absolutely hair-pulling experience because the guitar is guaranteed not to play perfectly in tune at the bottom of the neck and the top of the neck. It can get close. But this is where these little hand games, also the idea is like, wow, I've tuned the guitar. I actually know it's in tune. I've checked my intonation. Everything is good. But when I play at this location on the neck, it's just not in tune. There are also times that when they place the frets on the fingerboard, they didn't put them at the exact location. I was looking at a bridge. I was looking at a guitar today that I will not mention the name of the make. So there's a brilliant question brewing right here, which I'm going to, first of all, enlarge, because we're going to come back to that right in just a moment. I'm going to leave it there so I don't forget. I'm going to put it like a little think dot above my head, but I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit. There we go. There we go. That is a brilliant question. So let me come back to that in just a moment. So there's going to be places on the neck. I was ranting about this guitar. Not this one. But it was a guitar. It's a common guitar. And I was like, I looked at the way the bridge was set up, and it was a little crooked. And as I was playing the guitar, I also noticed that the volume knob was not quite right in the right place because I kept hitting it. So it's an interesting thing. I got a couple things wrong in the manufacturing. It was a funny thing. I can't go any further than that, but it was a very interesting experience. So the point being, manufacturers don't always get it perfect. So if you find there's one particular fret, you're like, that thing doesn't want to play in tune, do a little investigative research. And, you know, so there are, again, to recap for Why So Serious, actually, the funny thing, Chris, I will say this, and I'm going to replace this comment here with this. So, Chris, and again, you and I have great debates. So let me be really clear: as I am not being cantankerous, I'm being debatory. So here's the thing: as crazy as it sounds, jumbo frets are in some ways easier to play on because you're not having as much of the inclination to try and push the string and the finger into the fingerboard if you're conscious of it. Operative words, if you're conscious of it. So that's one of the reasons I have a tendency to enjoy larger frets, because when I'm playing on a smaller fret instrument and I can feel the neck, I start wanting to press into. So let me back up a step and let me say, because somebody out there is going like, I never even thought about this. So let's go back a step here. Hang on. Why so serious? Here's the unfortunate reality, is that everybody at some point has had to go, I've got to lighten up. Because what ends up happening again, so that's to say, That's a good way to demonstrate it. So I'm purposely pushing with my third finger into the neck. And I'm hitting the open D string. So So one of my favorite options to have is when I choose to play unison. Somebody else heard that, Born to Be Wild, right? Not necessarily the Christian theme, but the boy being. And if you're playing it out of tune. And the thing is, if you pull it sharp, you're going to lose your unison note. So for you, I would suggest, and I'm a little out of tune, so the first thing, the tuning is not really being my friend tonight, so I apologize. A string's gone a little sharp. And by the way, anybody's just tuning in here, so to speak, I gave everything a good stretch. I've done my due diligence, but this guitar is just not quite wanting to behave. So my apologies. I am a bit of a tuning fanatic. I could say it, but it's a Gibson, no wonder. But then it would just be the G string that's going out of tune. But the point being is, what you might try doing it. And try playing dyad. Oh, my pinky kind of. All right. Perfect setup for where I wanted to go with this. I was like, first of all, the whole exercise there was to do it with the first finger, then do it with the second finger. And hey, Mike, I think these are 9s, but ideally in a perfect world, I would put a light top as in 9s to a heavy bottom, which would be 46s on this guitar, because in theory, the intonation would be better. And depending on who the person is, the 8.5s, here's the thing is that I am a person that generally is of the belief that every guitar has its kind of string gauge that it really wants to sit where it wants to sit. So I kind of, and I've gone, this is a great example of kind of new Doug as opposed to, this is going to be the wrong shape, I think. Nope, there it is. Old Doug. Old Doug was like, all my students, blue Tortex, 1 millimeter, learn to be if you need to play some, but if you listen to the difference between that and Mr. Yellow Guy here, totally wrong tone. Come here. Now, the interesting thing is with this particular sound, this, by the way, is a perfect place that if you're heavy-handed, this is all about literally coming down to this. So actually, okay, backing up a step again, that thing. Oh, I like that. All right, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go 1, 4, 3, 2. But I forgot to move. 4 finger. Switch the 3rd finger. So I'm going 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. 1st, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. That will mess with your brain, but what it'll train you to do to get used to playing. So we're just patience. It'll train you to go between the different fingers. Don't get that open G string in there. Why tonight? All right, I'm going to ignore the tuner itself. The point being is I'm just going 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 1st, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. So I can just try. Just do it without a rhythm. Or I should say 1, 1st finger. 2nd finger. 3rd finger. 4th finger. Boy, my 4th finger. Now notice the 3rd finger, because of that pad, I went, that's me just gently relaxing my arch and muting that. So that wasn't the pinky muting the 4th, so now it's just me missing it. So the idea is these little subtle things are going to be insights into what happens when you go to do something with your 3rd finger and notes in a chord disappear. Maybe because the pad of, so maybe I'm playing this minor 7 chord here, right? But that little, that fleshy part of that 3rd finger, that callus there, instead of getting that note, I get. Okay. What's going on, Matthew? Great to see you. Okay. I wouldn't go so far as to say maestro, I'm something. Okay, so the unison is great because that'll really allow you, like, is it in, is it out? And here's the deal. It's like all I'm doing is kind of trying to go, this is where my head has been at. And I've been going, all right, there's a little open string ringing. That's going to be the next thing we'll have to talk about. But let's get back to the not overplaying. The secret is this, and this is really what it comes down to. This is everybody out there. Because I will say that there'll be 15%, I'll be a little conservative, that have never had anybody say this. There'll be another 30% maybe had somebody say it and they kind of forgot it. And then there's the rest of us that we kind of navigate with this. The only amount of tension you need to place on the string is just enough to make such that when you come down kind of on the string, these are frets. You're not pulling or pushing the string pulling it towards the treble strings or pushing it towards the bass strings, and you're not pushing it down in between the frets. You're literally pushing enough pressure such that it just goes bink and plays off the fret. Helps to have the volume up. So my exercise to suggest doing that would literally just sit there and learn to fret the note at one location with as little pressure as it possibly takes. And one of the other things that will happen when you find yourself doing that is you will stop doing the pulling on the string. Now I learned something. How about that? Which is why I kind of went there, because I'm always learning. And this is the thing about my approach to this. I'm always going, why is this working? Why is this not working? What can I learn from this? So the thing is, by literally only applying enough pressure, one of my cameras just did something very strange. Well, that's really weird. This shot right here. Oh, it's doing that funny color thing. I'm not doing that. The idea is by doing only enough pressure to fret the note, guess what? You're not going to pull it sharp. You're literally just going to you're not going to have enough. The thing about having enough pressure to just fret the note, you will actually, okay, let's back up a couple of steps. I'm shaking my head at myself because I should have started here. There is a very clear tactile relationship that I know that you know this, but usually nobody's ever had this spelled out as stupidly obvious as it is. You only want to fret it as hard as you need to fret it. And in so doing, it will be next to impossible to actually pull the string sharp because you'll feel the additional tension, whether you're pulling or pushing. You can feel it. So the idea is if you only fret it with as much tension as it takes, you're not going to pull it, you're not going to push it, and you're not going to push it into the neck. You're going to be like, wow, that's how hard I need to hit it, and you're going to go, I am grossly overplaying. So the answer is just about everybody here that just actually did that or will do that will go, oh my word. So because anything over that is playing it harder and fretting harder than you need to, and is guaranteed to result in some sort of intonation issue. How minuscule depends on how much additional pressure you put pushing the string this way or kind of allowing yourself to pull the string. You can see it bending. Guaranteed to be out of tune because that's what bends are, right? So how do you fix this? One of the ways is kind of just this, one finger at a time and kind of fix them. Then maybe try doing different. Mina Gibson. Guess it's just going to be 3 of them. All right, so basically I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. Then I'm going to go 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4. Then I'm going to go 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to go 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3. As in 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4. 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3. Nope, flip it around one more time. Holy cow. Let's see if I can call that out at the same time. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3. Made a little kind of a little bit of a noise there, but that actually helped. Okay, good. Tickle them frets. I love that. Used to be 9s, but there we go. Good. 8s are way too loud. Ingve plays on 8. So does Paul Gilbert. My pinky tons. Come on, Doug. It's not. Hold on. What did you say? It's not that hard. I love it. Okay, so the flying fingers thing. So let's talk about that a little bit. So this is another place to really. Okay, why do we have flying fingers? There's a couple of reasons behind this. And again, every single one of these things that's kind of going wrong in the midst of our rhythm playing. Because ultimately, if we think about the funny thing is that's me applying everything that I just kind of reminded myself. Nice and in tune. And those pinky notes, you want to go. and you want to dig it. You want to. And that one, by the way, if there's ever a place you wanted to pull that string sharp, so that's a good. You heard that. Now, great point. So if I were playing this and recording this, I'm listening for that. Now let's say this is. That right there, when you've got this kind of a stretch, I literally can't stretch that far. Reasonably. So I kind of will allow myself to bring that third finger when I go to play that note, but bring it back. All right, so the point being is if I'm allowing myself to come way off the neck here, Matthew, I'm going to get into trouble playing all this. The other thing that I did there, I did the barring thing, but I stopped for a second because I was like, so I'm going to go, I'm only going to, that's the only time I'm going to hit the dyad with the pinky. Not doing a very good job. We'll do it up here. That is to say, I was trying to go. There again, if I put more pressure than I need with the third finger than just to fret the note, teaching myself. Everybody, if you have the patience, play some blues. That is a great way to kind of go, oh. Matthew, I promise you, if you play it with as little pressure as you need to fret it, that's going to help. The other thing is that one of the reasons people get themselves into trouble with the flyaway fingers is that they don't have their hand sometimes turned as much into the neck as they would like. So part of that is also doing this thing with a pencil. You're kind of taking the pencil and you're curling and arching your fingers. And what this does is absorbs some of the curl and arch, such that the fact that the pinky is shorter, it's bringing these fingers, by the act of curling and arching them, you're reducing the extension with them. And this is why you're getting the flyaway. That is to say, if you curl and arch these guys, and okay, what's happening is my hand is at, let's say if this is 90 and this is 45, let's just say it's at maybe a 30-degree angle to the neck, 45, 30, give or take. Then what I'm doing is I'm bringing these guys into the neck like this, and it's strange things happening. So his first finger is kind of going like this, but the other thing that's happening is these guys are curling an arch. As I bring my finger into the neck here, that curl and arch starts to come around to the back side of the neck. But if you see, I'm still kind of, it's not like I'm pointing off into outer space, I'm curled and arched. But what ends up happening is that by drawing my hand into the neck there, I literally don't have the real estate to fly off the neck. So for you, oh, you're gonna hate me for this. Curl and arch this guy like you're grabbing something, and grab the neck like this. That's gonna force that finger in there, but not hard, just like enough pressure so that you can. You know what? That would be great. Everybody, I want you to grab something. I love this. I'm such a simpleton. I want you to grab anything on the desk or whatever's in front of you. I want you to grab it, and I want you to hold it with as little pressure as that actually takes to actually hold it without it dropping out of your hand. Between different fingers, that sense of tactile control, because many of us, I'm going to say many of you, and I'm learning more about this tonight. So, you know, I went into this kind of going, I'm going to learn some stuff tonight. I knew that. I expected it, and I wanted it. But this right here, I didn't see it coming, which is the best part. Literally, that little ability is like only enough to make it so it doesn't fall out of your hands. It's the same sort of amount of pressure you actually really need to actually play. Conversely, then when you start kind of gently pinching it, that's just pinching it with enough pressure to grab it. The curl and arch keeps the hand into the neck. So I did a terrible job with the subdivision method before. So this is going to be one and two and three and four and one E and a two E and a three E and a four E and a. That is a. So from you, Matthew, all the fun in the world. Keep it loose. Now, for some of you, you're going to do this because you're putting too much pressure. Then when you're done with that, up and down the neck. And for those of us that really adventures, oh, I can't do it. I'm trying to move up a fret and my brain just won't handle it. You get the idea. So you're going. While you're moving up a fret. Oh boy, that will mess with your brain, but if you can do it and deal with it, you're a smarter man than I am. I'm going to try that exercise after this. Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, okay, hang on, let me bring this in. Hang on. The flying fingers thing, yeah. So that, again, this guy, that will solve that. Because again, if you're applying only enough pressure, okay, part of the why behind the what's happening with you is that you're, I think, thinking you need more inertia. That'll really rhyme. Whew! What an exercise! So that's... There's gold in them there. That'll be great because that's all about playing it as light as you can. And because you're all four fingers, sometimes when you're not playing all four fingers, it gives you the ability to. But this again, this is the whole thing. If you bring the hand in there like that, it's going to solve that problem. I'm a thumb, pointer, index, and ring finger. My pinky is up for donation. And you know, here's the thing. All right, so at a tempo I can play it. So that's just 1, 3, 4. Sorry, stretch 1, 2, 3 at the 5th, 7th, and 8th. 5th, 7th, 8th. 5th, 7th, and 8th. 7th. Sorry, 8th, 7th, 5th. Lost the ability to count. 8th, 7th, 5th. But we're gonna double the middle string. Here's the deal. Curl and arch into the neck. Only enough pressure. To fret the note. You heard me get a little open string noise? Right around there. Tip of the first finger when I went there. A couple of things might have happened. I might have gotten a little pull off or a push off with the third finger. Not only doing a pull off on the third string, but giving a little push off to the fourth string as I left the third string. But that little combination. Sorry, I'm going third, second, second, third. Third, second, second, third, third, second, second, third, third, second, second, first, second, second, third. Again, that's third, second, second, third, 2 times. And you can also So what that's good for, first of all, I was switching between alternate picking and legato there, which is another great technique builder, not classically part of rhythm guitar. I started that. There we go. Now, the things I was talking about with rhythm guitar hold true for lead as well. You heard me kind of go, I think it was the third finger. Might have been the third finger as well, but I didn't have enough arch to not go. That's what I learned from there, right? So the second time I played it, after I did it, I was listening for it. And I clipped something, open D string. That was my... I went... All right, so one of the other things you want to be conscious of is keeping that arch, that last joint, arched. Okay, good. All right. All right, good. Awesome. Bruce Welch. I don't know who that is. I play that one all the time. Hybrid, Dorian Very, Paul Gilbert of Van Halen. Absolutely, I use that same pattern. You guys are shredders. That ties to my previous question because I never find my pinky to be expressive as my other finger, which I tend to play with passion and feeling all the time. So, here's you might take a moment, take platinum with a minor pentatonic, and kind of drop your fourth finger someplace where, hang on. There we go. Put that fourth finger someplace where it's kind of where, inserting the pinky. And putting the pinky in the middle of a riff that is kind of bluesy to begin with. So I'm first finger at the 5th fret on the high E string for the downstroke, hammering on the pinky at the 8th fret on the second ring, pulling off to the first finger at the 5th fret, and that third finger hammering on the 7th fret on the third string. And you heard me. So the way I fix that was like this. And there was the hammer on. That business, I should say an unwanted flat-fingered hammer on. So I'm bringing the right hand. So it's muting. If I'm muting that third string, and I literally purposely went, you can hear it there, purposely yanking it. play that every Sunday. Alan Hines, oh, we're going all the way out. I love it. It's not easy, but it helps. I love it. You guys are awesome. Hang on, let me check in on Facebook. My apologies for everybody over there. I regularly tune during rehearsals at church. They have heating and cooling, so it changes the flat sharp. Even telling the other guitarist he's so out of tune, but he can't hear it. For me, if guitars are out of tune, it's like a cat screaming. Rodney, I know exactly how you feel. The funny thing is that this church that I've been doing this kind of, these, they're not sub gigs because, I don't get paid, but I don't get paid, right? But it's a big room on a big hilltop that it's like a greenhouse. It's not super humid, but it's a little humid. But the room heats up and cools off with the sun, and my guitars hate it in there. What's going on, Wayne? Great to see you, my dear friend. Hello to the United States. 9 through 42 JS guitars. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the strings, because the strings make a big, big difference. And I talked about it a little bit before. Every guitar, I believe, generally has a gauge, and wait for it, brand of strings that are ideal for what the guitar was intended, and ideally the use we want to use is kind of one of the main uses for which that guitar was either created or has come to be used for, right? So this is kind of like my bargain basement. That's, kind of why I had this guitar, but it also does, it doesn't do it great, honestly. It's not a great lead guitar, but it makes you work for it, but when you... But rhythm-wise, that little... For the Mahavishnu fans out there. Something like that. All right, but the point being is that it kind of stuff, the open string stuff, it does really well. And or those little articulation things are a nice feel. All right. Good. So the thing is that your average guitar has, for me, like all of us, I buy a guitar with a thing in mind. Quite often that thing in mind has to do with somebody else that we saw doing that thing in mind. We bought that guitar because of the thing in mind that we had that they did with that guitar, hence the thing in mind. Quite often there's going to be a gauge that's associated with that. And quite often there's going to be a particular sound that will work best. And all these string manufacturers, you've heard me probably talk about it before, every string has an acoustic sound, but this right here is an electromagnetic system. So basically, as that string is vibrating X number of times per second, hence its frequency, that is being measured by how many times per second, that string is interfering with the magnetic field. That is to say, if I don't play it, we're going to ignore feedback, because ultimately what happens when you get feedback is the string actually starts to vibrate. But, if you don't do anything to the guitar and it's not on, is a better way of saying it. The strings don't do anything. As soon as you hit it, the string starts to vibrate to a specific frequency. That is to say, X number of times per second, that is the frequency. How frequent the vibrations are, how many of them there are per second. That's the pitch, right? So the thing is that that pitch happens acoustically without interfering with any electromagnetic field if your guitar is off. So when you turn the pickup, the volume control on, the only possible way it can actually impact that is by having a magnetic impact, or being influenced by the magnetic pull of the pickups, the transducers. So, and that's how it senses the vibration. So, if, for example, you put a nylon string on an electric guitar, it wouldn't make any sound because it doesn't have the ability. I should sort of say, electrically, it would not have any sound, but acoustically, you would still hear it. So the point being is that, unless obviously you're using some sort of piezo, but for the sake of conversation, we're talking about traditional magnetic pickups, and it just doesn't hear it because it's not interfering with the electromagnetic field. Every piece of metal everywhere around you, and I cannot believe the string manufacturers have not figured out a way to market around this, will have a different level of interference with the magnetic field. And if you do not believe me, put those puppies down next to your pickups there and feel the difference in pull that you get between different types of metal. And you're going to tell me that doesn't affect the way the string sounds? Hogwash, malarkey, hockey puck. I'm sorry. It's amazing the string man. And there was one of the guitar events that I teach at where a string manufacturer was there, and I said, well, tell me about the magnetic, the composition of this thing, or, the magnetic reactivity. And they had nothing to say about it. I'm like, how could you possibly be in the string business and know nothing about this? It's just insanity. Literally, take any piece of metal, stick it down there next to the pickups, and you'll feel that if you had 2 Allen wrenches. I don't have, sometimes you'll have Allen wrenches that'll be made out of different materials, right? You will be able to feel with your hands the difference in magnetic pull as you bring it down to the pickup and you pull it away. So you're telling me that's not, the string isn't similarly affected? Hogwash. I'm not saying you literally, but the point being is that it absolutely is going to affect the way the string interacts with the pickups. Arguably, and my guess is that this is the case, you can have metals that not only cause the string, you can fine-tune the, magnetism of the string by the materials, and in turn you can fine-tune that by frequencies, because we know that a new string, not just acoustically, but through the amp, does sound a little brighter. So there is some sort of piece that the sound plays, because let's face it, I think we could all generally agree that by the time you play an old string and a new string, the chemical makeup of that string hasn't changed. Now, one of the things that has changed is that string has stretched a little bit, but Eddie Van Halen used to boil his old strings, and one of the things, those of us, when we didn't have money, we had a nasty set of sounding old strings. We'd pull them off the guitar, boil them in water. You might not have been born when people had to do this, but that's what we did. You couldn't just order them from Amazon and have them show up at your front door the next day. But the point being is that would actually give some life back to the strings, which, yes, the stretching goes so far as to create a thing, and yes, the oils on the string go so far as to thing, but I have relatively dry fingers, and boiling the strings seem to make some life come back. So it means that, yes, although stretching might have some impact, if Boylan kind of brings some of the life back to them, it goes so far as to say the stretching may not have as much of an impact as we might want to believe. So the point being is that every one of these strings has its own nuance in terms of the way it interacts with the pickups and how bright it is and how it feels underneath your fingertips. That includes, like, are they steel, nickel plated? Are they, what's the makeup? Are they, coated or whatever it is? All that stuff matters. And generally, every instrument, Jem, what's going on, my man? Great to see you. Every single one of those things matters ultimately to the tone of the instrument. And so it's finding the one that kind of is best. And a bunch of my Strats, you can see it. This guitar right there, my buddy, I bought it sight unseen because I knew I needed to have a 60s. It wasn't a 60s. Yeah, it was a 60s road worn Strat. My buddy found it kind of sight unseen on Craigslist. And I was like, buy it, bring it. He showed up I was doing something in the studio. He showed up with the guitar. I played one chord and I was like, right, the guitar's going down to E flat. In a day, the guitar was at E flat. I've left it there. It sounds great. It's one of my favorite guitars. I actually have to force myself not to play it because I'll play it too much. But that guitar was meant to be in E flat. The manufacturer didn't necessarily know it, but and I was like, right, I'm tuning it to E flat. I'm putting 10s on it. Done, right? Like the guitar told me what it wanted, and that was kind of it. Yes, thank you, Alan. Jam, what's going on, my man? Yes, you do, especially when you're riding a skateboard. So yeah, and Deanne, I mean, here's the funny thing is that, I have relatively dry fingers, which means I don't corrode strings, but I do get stuff on the fingerboard. And somebody was mentioning you should get some of that stuff off. In a video that I did, you could actually kind of see some of the stuff. So I've started kind of trying to clear that stuff off. Apparently, the guitar player, Bruce, are you still here? Totally blanking on the name of the guitar player from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Alan, you got this. But he had a guitar that he would not, he wouldn't let them take the grunge off because he thought it was part of the sound. And I believe him. I, by the way, saw Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers in 1977 on their first tour, and they were awesome. Yeah, most of you weren't even alive in 1977, much less going to concerts, but they were great. They were amazing. And yes, the stuff. Thank you. The man, the myth, the legend, Mike Campbell. Thank you, Alan. I knew you'd have that. So just a great player, great sound. But he's got this guitar. I think it's the Telly, maybe, that he's been playing since I probably saw him in 1977. He just don't take that stuff off. It's part of the sound. In any case, all right, hang on. Let me check in on Facebook here real quick. Okay, so the moral of the story as we approach the 2-hour mark is this, is that listen to, first of all, Jim, the micro version we were talking about, I got a couple little things for you, my man. It was primarily about rhythm, but the idea is if you're only touching the string, good on you, mate, as hard as you need to, you're right on time, my man. You're always right on time wherever you are. And don't ever let anybody tell you different, except when you're late. Only fretting as hard as you need to actually make the note ring. And you will never have a problem with intonation again. But Jem, we had this really cool, what was the, right. So, right. We did this thing, we were Independence. Right. So it was basically going 1 2 1 3 1 4, 2 1 2 3 2 4, 3 1 3 2 3 4. And then 4 1 4 3 4 1 4 2 4 3. I have to do it slower. Nope. There it is. So 1 2 1 3 1 4 2 1 2 3 2 4 3 1 3 2 3. Sorry, 3 1 3 1 3 2 3 4 4 1 4 2 4 3. One more time. 1 2 1 3 1 4 2 1 2 3 2 4 3 1 3 2 3 4 4 1 4 2 4 3. And that sucker will be really cool. The other thing you missed that would be kind of fun. That's 3 2 2 3 3 2 2 3 3 2 2 1 1 2 2 3. Switching between alternate picking and legato. The other thing is switching between alternate picking as well as the first, third, and fourth, and first, second, and third. Yeah, that will mess with your brain and your mind, but that's a great little exercise. Right. That'll keep you busy. That's good. The Lord has his way. Thank the Lord this is going on replay. Jam, I love you to death. All right, so we're getting ready to close it down here for tonight. So let me see if I can't come up with a couple last little rhythmic things. So the concept of this idea of playing it as light as you possibly can. Do it slowly so you're not going to screw it up. Only applying enough pressure to fret the note. Now what I'm doing is the same concept but across 4 strings. The idea, those are the individual elements that we would use for chords. But going again, that 1 2 1 3 1 4 2 1 2 3 2 4 3 1 3 2 3 4 4 1 4 2 4 3. I can do this. Whew, okay. But what's great about that is that helps you not pull those strings out of tune. The idea going from here and then going to here, that's analogous, again, with playing a chord, right? How about hitting the third string? Right string. And And the idea is by doing that, we're doing it in the framework of a chord, right? 6, 5, 6, 4, 6, 3, 6, 2, 6, 1, 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5. I play it better when I'm talking. But the idea is playing in such a way that you're not grabbing and manhandling or girl handling that chord, right? We don't want to do Robert Fripp. Now, that's the other thing. That's a track called Frame by Frame. But my picking on that is chop, 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 very choppy. That little bit. So sometimes just, because you got to keep that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. It's got to keep that loose, like it's almost like a little. But so slowing it down. Just make it a little bit looser. It's still a little tiny bit chop. Also listening for the note that's the offender. That one I'm hitting too hard. And I'm hitting it too early. If I need pull back a little bit. Going on, Rick? Great to see you, man. Still not great there, but the idea is again. So funny thing is that sounds like a Dream Theater riff. Nothing personal, vice versa, but yes. So that's so funny. Awesome. Okay, hang on a second. Let me just check in here and make sure everybody on Facebook is good. We appear to be. Hey, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I love you guys so much. This is so much fun. I love the fact that I can just kind of be mistakey if I need to be, and just kind of like it's cool because we're all learning something here. You know, the idea is that. There are times you play something, you're like, it's just choppy. Slow it down. And if there's a note that's the one that's jumping out, I'm very purposely opening my mouth and going, so you can see me taking a breath. So I'm reminding myself to breathe. Oh, dude, Alan, what a pleasure. The pleasure is absolutely mine, and we get a chance to do. Here's the thing: we get a chance to do this journey together, and that's the best part, right? You know, and the purpose is, I'm impassioned about rhythm guitar. I'm impassioned about teaching music. I'm impassioned about sharing that. And I'm especially impassioned about sharing that with people who are believers. Love it. With pleasure. And while I appreciate the thanks, first of all, it actually, hold on. You're welcome. And the thanks are always appreciated. the joy is in the giving, right? I mean, like, and I'm sure you guys can all appreciate when you give and do out of a place of abundance. Deanne, thank you, with great pleasure. Thank you. When you give out of a place of abundance, the expectation is not that you're going to receive thanks for it. It's always appreciated. The expectation is that the abundance is going to be refilled by Lord Almighty. That's a great place to just kind of live expectantly in. Justin, awesome. Thanks, my man. And, here's the thing. Hopefully, as I every so often, I'm like, oops, the idea, we're not searching for perfection because it's unattainable. Even the guys like Joe Satriani and Paul Gilbert will tell you it's unattainable. But I love it, or at least louder or something. Thank you. I received that. The idea is that we're actually learning to get better on an instrument in tangible ways. The big, anybody just tuning in, the thing is, try playing with as little pressure as it possibly takes to actually fret the note. You're going to fly off the fingerboard a lot less. You're going to find your intonations a lot better. And you're also going to find that you're not fatigued as much. The other part of that story, thank you for reminding me, do not grip with the thumb. Talking to you out there that's experienced some hand tension, all the thumb does is prevent the neck from being pushed back. Somebody out there is applying the finger to the neck and fretting with the thumb. Nobody ever told you not to. I am now. It's bad technique. If you didn't know it's bad technique, nobody ever told you. But it's why you fatigue. The thumb is literally there in combination with this and this to prevent the neck from pushing back like this. Literally, it's 1, 2, 3 plus the legs, but in terms of kind of the non-leg where it's sitting part of this, that is where you're able to then fret that note with as little pressure from the fingertip as possible. The thumb providing pressure other than enough to keep the neck from being pushed back when you're fretting a note. That the thumb doesn't, watch the thumb, has nothing to do with the fretting of the note. Has to do with the neck not being able to be pushed back. It's not me. And the relaxing and breathing thing is important. Well, okay, so here's the thing, Henry, what's going on? Great to see you. So this is one of the other things. I've never played Kool and the Gang in a worship setting. You got to be careful. The thumb is a... giant parting thingo. The tendency when we start to play dynamically harder is to dig in more with the left hand. And guess what happens? This is the trick if you want a little bit. Move it a little closer to the bridge. versus meow. That right hand, not harder, a little closer to bridge. That's a good spot. Does it sound the same as hitting really hard over here? No, but it's a lot better than playing out of tune. And there's nothing like and there are times you can kind of push the string a little bit, but I'm right on the string versus that inertia going into it is guaranteed to make the string do that. And those spots, that little D string right there. And I can tell these are 24s. That spot, if I'm not careful, again. This is the difference when I actually obey myself when I say only hit it as hard as you need to fret the note. Gotta say it with the left hand. Now only hit it hard enough to make it cool. All right. All right, everybody. Let me make sure I've got everybody appropriately. Yes, that's very much classical. Awesome, Rodney. I don't think you'll sleep tonight. I hope I do. In any case, everybody, much love. Let's do a little prayer here. Lord, the guitar is just a gift that you gave us that just keeps giving. And I just pray that everybody will be moved closer and further into a place of overflow. I pray that tonight somehow will impart new and improved playing in areas where people were seeking new ideas or improvement in their playing. And Lord, I just pray that the seeds that would be planted would be flourishing, and in turn they would yield fruit that would benefit not only the tender of the tree, but also those that the fruit would be shared with. And we just give thanks for the gift of music and the ability to come together around that and around you, and just, the way you give us the gifts and then you allow us to selfishly indulge these gifts, and then we have the pleasure of turning and sharing these gifts around with you as a pleasing offering. So I just, wrap that all up with the bow of pleasing offering. And as those of you that are working away and toiling away to improve your guitar work, doeth unto the Lord and illuminate even more. because, God loves when we prepare ourselves and expand our attentive capacity, and he rewards it, and he gives us, there's always more. So Lord, you are God of an abundance, and we just give thanks for that and are so grateful. And I pray that you're with everybody here in a really powerful way this week, and just bless them going in and bless them going out. In Jesus' mighty name we said, amen. Thanks so much. Have an amazing week. I will see you next Tuesday. We have got an amazing show that got postponed a couple weeks back. We've got Junior. We've got Colton. We've got Brian. We've got, I don't know, me. So that would be Junior from this amazing company called Jet Pedals. We've got Colton from Red Rocks Worship. We got Brian from Worship Tutorials. Invariably, I'm forgetting somebody, which is really bad. But that's just it, and there's more. And then we're going to be talking about a giveaway that we're going to be doing, and it's just going to be groovy. And this is all about the launch of the Lion and the Lamb pedals, the first pair of MIDI controllable overdrive and distortion pedals. And so super excited. We're also going to be talking about the MCX, their little baby MIDI controller for your favorite small modeling device that could use some additional foot switchies. And it's going to be great. And everybody, what a pleasure. God bless you all. Much love. And thank you for the joy you give me. There's nothing like spending a couple hours of your life and leaving more filled and more fulfilled than you started, right? So that's what you guys give me. So thank you for that. And I am grateful at every level for that. Much love. And even kisses. Not sloppy wet kisses. We aren't going to go there. But just kisses and hugs. Much love. God bless. Make it a great one.